Oh my god, less than 10 seconds. Okay, well, this is easy peasy.
It's only a game. Why you have to be mad?
What is up, heroes of Dominion? My name is Charlie. This is Hero Wars Central, and in today's video, we're going to compare two heroes that you may not think to compare, but I think it's a valid comparison. We have Qing Mao on the left and Iris on the right. Stay tuned to the end of the video, and I'm going to tell you how I plan to use Iris with my Kark lineup. Before we get into the bulk of the video, this is a Facebook and web only video. Mobile players, I have no idea if Iris is coming to Hero Wars Mobile. She might not. I have no idea. I'm sorry, I don't know. I wish I did. I don't know. She's a pretty cool hero, but she's got some ups and downs just like any other hero does. I'm not going to go over the stat split here, how they compare. Qing Mao has 4 total skins. Iris has 1 skin. But if you look down the list, of course, Qing Mao is an agility hero and Iris is an intelligence hero. You have a lot of comparable stats. Around 300k health. The main attack stat of Qing Mao is at 66,000, whereas the main attack stat on Iris is at 82,000. Of course, Qing Mao has way more armor penetration, and I believe that's going to be one of the first skins that Iris gets is an armor penetration skin. Hopefully it's going to be that or a health skin, but more on that a little bit later. Now, at first glance, this may not be a fair comparison. Qing Mao is a damage dealing support hero. In fact, she's a frontline damage dealing support hero in that she supports the damage to the enemy frontline. Kind of a difficult statement there, but you guys know what I mean. Iris is a damage dealer through and through. Qing Mao supports damage dealers, but the end goal of either hero is the same: to kill the tank as quickly as possible. Starting with Qing Mao's ultimate, we have a pure damage over time ability. The green ability does damage and blinds the front row. Qing Mao's blue ability does pure damage based on the enemy's health. And then we have Open Heart, which reduces the enemy's armor every time Qing Mao makes an attack. Her best uses are going to be against high health and high armor targets. The higher the enemy's health, the more damage this blue ability does. And if your enemy has a ton of armor, this Violet ability will reduce that armor down to a breakable level. If you take a look at Iris, you have this Expose Soul Split ability, and this is kind of her bread and butter. This converts all damage to the front tank to pure damage for a short amount of time. It's based on health, not on magic attack, not on physical attack. It's based on her health, which is interesting, and that's going to basically tell you what stat you need to focus on first, which is not traditionally the stat you want to level up when you're dealing with damage dealers, but here we are. The green and blue ability has to do with Bitey, her little demonic doggo. Bitey will attack the rearmost enemy and then continually attack enemies as he's returning to Iris, dealing more and more and more damage. Now, this is a physical damage attack based on a magic attack modifier, so it can be boosted with armor penetration and it can be boosted with magic attack buffs. Her ultimate ability converts damage to pure damage. Her green ability does large amounts of physical attack damage to the front line. Once you unlock Iris's blue ability, this gives her a single target big hit. It is physical damage. It's not pure. It's not magic. It can be avoided with armor. Finally, she has this Violet ability, which is an area of effect health drain, which she then converts into a really large attack, a physical damage based attack on that tank or other frontline hero as well. So Iris is a straight up damage dealer. She's similar to Yasmin in that she doesn't seem to need a ton of support. However, she's incredibly easy to counter if you're paying attention, and we're going to touch on that in a little bit. Iris's best uses are going to be against mid to low health targets or low armor tanks. What's really interesting is that she's particularly effective against some of the most popular heroes right now. She's a straight up hard counter to Aurora, and I've been saying since the Eternal Summer season and the Ascension system was announced that Cleaver is now going to be the top tank in the game, and because of Iris, I think that is now absolutely the case. Sebastian doesn't do much against her since Iris doesn't really debuff anything, and some are even calling her a counter to Isaac. However, I don't believe that's going to be the case once Isaac gets another skin. Isaac's area of effect silence will slow down this Expose Soul ability. However, it will not slow down these other attacks since they are physical damage based attacks. So then when it comes to ranking them in some hypothetical tier list that is completely arbitrary and made up and opinion based, Qing Mao is a high tier hero for what she does. There aren't many damage dealing support heroes that specifically support damage against the front line, but if there were a good list of them, Qing Mao would be absolutely at the top. She's providing armor penetration to your physical attackers. She's providing an armor debuff to the enemy tank. She's providing a pure damage attack that ignores armor. She's good in arena, grand arena, guild wars. She's good in the campaign. She's good against boss fights. She's good against Outland bosses. Qing Mao doesn't have many shortcomings whatsoever. However, you can counter her pretty effectively with dodge heroes like Aurora, the tank, and Sebastian will remove blinds that she applies to your team. She's pretty far forward as well, so she can be easily exposed with the right lineup. Now, when it comes to the discussion of Iris, her main utility is just killing low health, low armor tanks quickly. That's it. She doesn't have any other team utility. She doesn't provide blinds or stuns. She doesn't silence. She doesn't boost anything aside from the magic attack artifact, but there are a ton of magic attack boosting heroes in this game. She doesn't reduce armor. She doesn't reduce magic defense. She has almost no utility aside from the one single utility of being able to help against tanks. Any high health and high armor tank is just going to defeat her abilities completely. I'm talking about Cleave Daddy. I'm talking about Galahad. Luther is a fun choice. Even Astaroth, when leveled up, shouldn't have any issue tanking versus Iris. In fact, Astaroth might be the best tank because he will revive himself if Iris does kill him too quickly. Like I mentioned, silences can slow her down. It'll prevent her ultimate from casting for a few seconds, but it can still pop off. But the main way to counter Iris is with big physical damage. She's extremely low armor, extremely low. And since she doesn't have any additional skins, she has almost no health either. A lot of the Iris teams that I've been seeing thrown around, my Kark team has no trouble dealing with. She's often going to be the lowest health enemy on the team, and I'm just going to crack her the first time Kark uses his ult. But with all that being said, the main way to counter Iris is to just not attack her with Aurora. And I know that's going to be hard to do. A lot of you are worshiping at the altar of Aurora and have been for the past 6 months to a year. Aurora is an amazing, amazing, amazing tank in so many places. Just don't use her to attack Iris, and you'll probably be fine. I was even beating a lot of the Iris teams with Kark as a tank. Let's just put that out there. So Iris is going to be good in Arena, Grand Arena, and Guild Wars in the right team, just like any hero is going to be. She does nothing versus bosses, so she's going to be a poor campaign hero, even though the regular campaign missions she'll be just fine with. She doesn't work against Outland bosses. She definitely does not work against Osh, the baby god. She's okay in the tower, I guess, if you need that. So like I said, she has one basic gimmick, and that's helping deal damage to tanks. Since she has no additional utility, she's a C to D tier hero for me. I know it's going to upset a lot of people. I just don't see her as being that overpowered yet. When she gets a couple of more skins and isn't so weak to big physical attacks, then maybe I'll reconsider. But as of right now, I think everybody has Aurora blinders on. Just don't use Aurora against her. Maybe adjust another hero here and there, and you're going to be just fine. Now, on the upside of things, Iris, like I said, can pretty well stand alone. She doesn't need a ton of support in order to be an effective addition to your team, and she would actually benefit from Qing Mao, funny enough. And as promised, how I plan to use her, I'm going to be adding her into my Kark team in instances where I have trouble breaking through the enemy's tanks. As you know, Kark targets the 3 lowest health enemies with his major attack. Kark teams traditionally don't have trouble dealing with most teams that are out there. They do have trouble finishing off enemy tanks and enemy healers, especially with the well-leveled Axel and Oliver on your tank and Martha. Kark struggles. He just doesn't do enough damage over time, and the really big hits that he does, you can easily heal through when you're just dealing with tank plus Martha left on the enemy team. This has led to a lot of timeouts. I don't usually lose with Kark anymore. I usually just don't do enough damage fast enough. In instances where I'm worried about this, a super high level Cleave Daddy or a super high level Galahad or maybe even a super high level Astaroth backed up by Martha or Dorian with Axel, I'm going to want to add Iris in to help finish off those tanks. Unfortunately, none of the baseline Bob heroes that I swap in and out really boosts her output. I don't traditionally add any armor penetration heroes or magic attack heroes to the lineup, but maybe putting her behind Nebula, maybe like Kark, Nebula, Iris, maybe that's the play, something like this. Sebastian does push her away, so this is going to be problematic. But maybe you don't always need Sebastian on offense. After all, not a lot of players are using Jorgen anymore. Maybe you use him against the twins in this lineup, but if you're going up against twins Aurora, then this should be fine. Heck, maybe even something like this. And then just add in your tank of choice. Cleave Daddy or Astaroth or Luther. Really anybody will work. I hope this video today did not dissuade you from leveling up Iris. I think that she has a place in this game. I think that she's an effective addition, although I think that she was added in order to make everybody shift their focus away from the 2 to 3 really popular heroes that everybody's been leveling for the last year onto new, different heroes. I see Iris as a hero that you level up and swap into your team to help against specific tank lineups and as a quote-unquote safer Yasmin on defense. If you like my discussion comparing 2 heroes, I got a couple of more 2-hero comparison videos on screen now. Check them out. They're a little older than this one, so they may not be as up to date with some of the changes that have taken place in the game, but they might still be worth a watch. Don't forget, we live stream Monday through Friday. Schedule is on screen now. I love you all. Good luck in Dominion.